All right, well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our second series of the Maryland Pork Chat webinar series. Today we'll be hearing from Matt Ventrella and Jeff Arner from Leidy's Premium Meat. Just a few reminders from the Maryland Pork Producers Association before we get started. These will be happening the first Friday of every month until I think September is our last one. Additionally, memberships still open. Those can be found on our website, www.pork.org. I think that's it. I'll turn it over to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. My name is Matt Ventrella. I'm with Leidy's. We are a regional pork producer and packer up in Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, with over 130 years of business. And I am the director of technical services with Leidy's. And that means I oversee our food safety, quality assurance, regulatory, product development, sanitation, as well as most recently, I have responsibility now for hog procurement, so working with some of our producers. And I'm joined today by Jeff Arner. Jeff, if you want to give a little intro.
Yes, thanks, Matt. I've been with Leidy's for about 18 years until recently retiring from my full-time job there as director of hog procurement. Previous to that, I had worked for another packer for 17 years, so I've got about 35 years experience in the pork industry, primarily in hog procurement. So happy to be here. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. So today we just want to kind of give you a snapshot of who we are, who is Leidy's, who some of our customers are. Then we'll talk a little bit about our hog supply, and then we'll end with kind of just talking about some of the different ways that we interact with our farm partners and how we can work together. And I think that's kind of our agenda for today. So who is Leidy's? As I mentioned, we are a regional East Coast, we like to say value-added supply chain partner, primarily working in the fresh pork and processed meat and poultry spaces. And we do date back to 1893. Some of the items that we produce include fresh pork items, bacon, processed items such as sausages, smoked sausages, old world varieties, including natural casing frankfurters, and some liverwursts and other pate items. We also work on hams. We are definitely known for our delicious hams and other smoked meats and deli items. We make a variety of deli poultry meats as well. And pork roll and scrapple and lard, some of our legacy items that still taste great all these years later. So we do have 3 production facilities, all located here in southeastern Pennsylvania, as well as a distribution center that's newly been added in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And we are focused on growth with innovation and acquisition. Just to highlight some of our facilities. So our Souderton facility is our main facility. It is actually on the land that was the Leidy's original family farm, where the business got started back in 1893. The facility here is about 65,000 square feet. It is where we harvest our animals. We do all our fabrication work for fresh pork. We also do value-added, ready-to-eat, and smoked products here as well. That equates to about 1 million pounds of pork products that are processed here each week. We can harvest 1,350 head per day with about 300 full-time employees. And this facility is SQF, or Safe Quality Foods certified, as well as certified organic and American Humane certified. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we move on. We also have a facility about 5 miles away in Harleysville, Pennsylvania. Historically was known as the Alderfer facility. It was started by the Alderfer family. That plant is about 32,000 square feet. It's really considered to be our deli plant, where we produce a bunch of ready-to-eat products such as Lebanon bologna, pork roll, and on all of our poultry products. That plant puts out about 200,000 pounds of processed items each week with 65 full-time employees, and that plant is also SQF and organic certified. Newest facility is up in Easton, Pennsylvania. It's about 17,000 square feet. We also have additional room there to grow. We have another lot there that we could add on and expand that facility even further. That facility is also sometimes referred to as Bethlehem Sausage Works, and that's where the majority of our sausages are made, fresh and smoked sausages. We also make pâtés there and some other kind of old world items. That plant can produce about 70,000 pounds of processed products each week with around 30 full-time employees. And we are SQF certified, and we are actually organic certified as well there. I just left that off the slide. So a lot of capabilities, a wide range across those 3 facilities, which makes us unique that we can really deliver the wide range of products that our customers are looking for. You know, when you look at Leidy's and what sets us apart from other integrators and some of our competitors, we like to say that we're large enough to serve and small enough to care. And I think that's a unique model and definitely a differentiator that we have. We partner only with independent family farms. We do not own any of our own pigs, and that's something also that's pretty unique to the way that we do things. We work with certain producers on custom programs, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And we can also do smaller batch sizes that a lot of the larger facilities, you know, where it doesn't make sense for them to work in such small quantities. So it really kind of lends itself to that artisan nature that we're able to work with our customers. So who are some of our customers that we like to work with and we have long-standing relationships with? Here they are: Plainville Farms, Wawa, Wegmans, Boar's Head, Whole Foods. These are all customers that should sound familiar, and we really think of it as we're working with these really you know, ideal customers for the products that we carry. We're very proud of our partners, our customer partners, and I think it says a lot about the quality and the consistency and the types of programs that we offer and the types of products that we can produce. We're going to move in and talk a little bit about our hog supply, pork production, and I'm going to let Jeff take the lead.
Thank you, Matt. I will talk a little bit about the hogs that we get into there at Leidy's, and there's different types of production that we work with, and there's really no right or wrong way to raise the animals. It's mostly targeted to specific customers and really kind of the different types of products that they want and what their end consumers are asking for. Next slide. So, you know, predominantly what we have worked with is what we call the traditional hogs, sometimes called conventional or commercial hogs. This would be pork production that is widely spread across the country, targeted, you know, just raising animals to meet the market for people that want pork. In our case, these pigs are mostly raised in Pennsylvania. We also purchase pigs out of Maryland, Delaware, New York, occasionally some other states, but we like to work locally And as Matt pointed out, we do not own any livestock ourselves. So here with these traditional pigs, where the focus is really, safe, wholesome food, we have a variety of size farms that work with us. We have farmers with 20 pigs on a gooseneck trailer that come in, or we might have individual supplier that might send 10 or 12 tractor trailer loads of pigs in per week. So the size does not really matter to us. We want to work with high quality, independent farmers. We'll require them to have pork quality assurance certification, that they feed their pigs in a way that produces a high quality carcass. As we're manufacturing products and selling fresh pork, both. Most of these traditional farms would be 3-site production where they're separating the sows, the nursery pigs, and the finishing pigs to help with biosecurity. Really, the targeted goal here is to be efficient and produce good, safe, wholesome pork at a low cost. And we do that and have plenty of suppliers. But being a regional packer in, I'll say, a not inexpensive place to live in Southeast Pennsylvania, our ability to drive the cost down in terms of our processing, throughput, and those things, that's not really the game that we would win at when we're competing against the large packers across the country in the heart of the Corn Belt. So we've, over the years, evolved to some different styles of production. You can move to the next slide, Matt. And we're trying to capture some different markets that maybe these bigger packers wouldn't be interested in. And this Nature's Tradition program is one of our specialty programs that we do at Leidy's, and probably started evolving into this back in the early 2000s, 2004 or so, where we wanted to set ourselves apart a little bit and do something unique. And really the thing at that time that was really important was the use of antibiotics. Now, in traditional pork production, if you had an ill pig that needed treatment with antibiotics, that's perfectly legitimate to do that. There's no antibiotic residue allowed in the pork meat. You follow withdrawal times. That's perfectly reasonable. Maybe back 25 years ago, antibiotics were used a little bit more for growth and to get pigs to market quicker. We've evolved that over the years where now it's more just treating pigs that are sick. So even at that time, there was a little question of what antibiotic-free meant. And some people were saying, well, it just means you would do it no antibiotics from the feeder pig stage through finishing, but we'll still give them antibiotics in the nursery. Well, we evolved that and had some customers that wanted never ever to use antibiotics, which we forged ahead on that. One reason that I felt we were able to have producers join us in that was that if they did need to treat a pig, we would still accept that pig as a conventional or traditional pig, perfectly fine for that part of our business. And that gave guys a little comfort knowing that they could still market their pigs to us. Today, some of these programs you might hear about out there, it's all or nothing. Either your pig qualifies or it doesn't. If it does not, you're responsible to market it elsewhere. We're able to use the different types of pigs. Other key features here at that time, open pen gestation was just being talked about, and we thought we would take that step ahead as opposed to the gestation crate style production that was predominant. We also had a customer that wanted an all vegetable diet, no meat animal byproducts. We incorporated that, which meant no fish meal, meat and bone meal, blood plasma, some of those things that might be in a traditional diet. And the other one initially back then was the American Humane certification. We really felt it important to have a third-party program we were following, not just that we were saying we were doing things and people should, just naturally take our word and follow along. We wanted an independent third party to certify the program. And we've continued with American Humane to today. I believe we're the longest tenured pork supplier in their program. We've been involved over 15 years. Today, we've added a couple other features to set ourselves apart. We did develop a proprietary feeding program that all of our independent suppliers follow. We also have a Duroc sired program. So every animal coming in has a Duroc as a sire. And finally, we have added on the Where Food Comes From Pork Care certification. Next slide. So as I said, this about early 2000s, and I kind of went through some of those things already to this point. And we have steadily grown the numbers, back in the early parts of the program. We might have had a couple of hundred pigs per week in that program. Now we're approaching maybe 40% of our supply is in this Nature's Tradition program. It's allowed us to get into some markets that were a little different from the conventional. One thing here is it's not necessarily a one size fits all for every customer. Some customers get focused on the antibiotic part of it. Others like the animal welfare. But we have one standard program, Nature's Tradition, and the end users can choose how they want to promote that. We would include that logo that we saw previously on our packaging with the American Humane certification. As I mentioned, we've enhanced the program a little bit, talking about the breed, now Duroc feed, proprietary program, and creed, meaning that we have logbooks, record keeping, producers that follow the same program, all independent, all as one entity trying to get this product to market. And then looking ahead is to say, well, what might be the next thing we choose to do or add? We've really been focused on a high quality pork with a good eating experience. We want it to be appealing on the supermarket shelf and then also have a good story behind it. And then finally, when the end consumer cooks and eats the product, they want to go back and purchase more. Next slide. There's a couple of our products. We would also do an uncured product here to keep with the, we'll call it clean label style of presentation to consumers. It's a newer logo and label we have there. Again, pointing out the Duroc pork, and of course bacon, ham, smoked sausage, and fresh pork. Really a big part of that program. Next slide. So once we're in the NT, and that's being the bulk of what we're doing specialty wise, yet there are some customers that want something different and beyond that. And I'm going to point out the GAP program, which is really related to whole foods as a style of production. GAP really being focused on 5 different steps, and we're focused on ours with step 1, which would really get into no confinement of sows, no farrowing crates, and the use of bedding, no tail docking, teeth clipping, things like that. Really a little step beyond nature's tradition, and yet nature's tradition with having American Humane certification, they are saying that is fine for the animal to be in a farrowing crate. We're protecting the young pigs. So different programs have different requirements. Again, it's kind of in the eye of the beholder there, which ones are important to them. One thing, and going back to nature's tradition, focus there being entirely on the welfare of the animal. Some of the other programs evolve into, you know, employees and community involvement, and all those are great parts and pieces of other programs. Some are focused just on the animal itself. Another concept that we've heard much of is pasture-raised pork. I think there's a strong demand for that. You know, where we live, all of us here in the Mid-Atlantic, we're very close up and down the Northeast corridor here to a lot of population centers. And even if you don't have a high percentage of people that want a given style of production, even a low percent is a lot of people in the region we live in. So pasture raised has its own challenges. Always looking at the weather as one thing. A rainy day can degrade the pasture land quite quickly. So you get into some rotational grazing, not just a dirt lot feeding the pigs. And we do some custom harvest for others that raise pigs on pasture. Next slide. We evolved that, we'll say, animal welfare bedded, no crate concept, similar to GAP. And we are holding the GAP certification in what we're calling the Cherry Lane Farms program. This was a newer attempt to raise pigs differently to meet that different market. We elected to use a Tamworth sire in this program, a clear heritage breed that's not used very often. it's really known as the bacon breed, and it's a red hog. We thought that that'd be very unique for the program. You would keep the GAP certification and raise all these pigs in the Pennsylvania, Maryland area, and thought we'd have a good story there that many people would be interested in. Of course, as you add some of these features to these programs, the costs go up along the way. We struggled here to get this program to take off, and I think ultimately any of these styles of production are of interest, but at the end of the day, the end users and the consumers have to want to buy this type of product. So where as a pork producer, you might feel that, well, my job is to raise the pig and get it to the packer, and then my job is done. I've sold the pig to the packer, and that's where it ends. But the packer now needs to sell that meat to the end consumer and recoup the cost that they paid to the farmer. So said in another way, it has to work all the way along the line for everybody in the program. We like to give farmers an opportunity to work with us where they might be too small, or their barns aren't big enough to work for a big packer that might be focused on just efficiency and low cost. Not every one of these programs works. We've tried some others over the years, and we try to target what the end users want to buy and how much they're willing to pay for it. Next slide. One of the ways we try to get in front of consumers. So if you think of it this way, the packer, Leidy's, is going to sell products to a food service company or a retailer who then will sell it to an end user. So sometimes we're a step or two removed from the person that's going to eat the pork and enjoy the program. So we've tried to tie in with some of those customers that Matt showed earlier to get the story of the farmer more in front of the end user, the consumer. And we've done that at various places by showing maps of where the farms are. We write little profiles about the farmers that some of the customers would post in their supermarkets where consumers can read about the farms. We've done videos. The pictures here are from a video at the Shockery Vista farm, which is one of our Nature's Tradition farms here in Pennsylvania. That'll be profiled on the Where Food Comes From site, and at Heinen's supermarkets out in Ohio, where that day we had a drone fly over the farm and take video and talk with the family. And it just lets consumers know that farmers are actually real people and do real work and live lives. And it's important that we work with good people in what we do. We've also had a few farmers actually go to the supermarkets and engage with consumers there, talk about what they feed the pigs and how they grow. And I think it means a lot to the people that aren't really connected to the farms and farm life. So that's a little bit what we've done in terms of our farmer network and supply. And I guess in summary of that, we have different programs. They don't work for every single customer. We try to present products and things that will make a difference for them. If everybody just wanted to sell the same thing, it would really be just a drive to low cost. Some of these things we're adding increase the cost, and we need to find the right customers to match up with us. Next slide. I think that was all that I had. Matt, I don't know if you have anything to add or our next step here.
Yeah, I think you did a great job. I think that showcased kind of the different programs that we do work with our producers. We try to get creative. My team also works on product development, so we take some of these specialty items and further process them. Jeff mentioned that the NT, our Nature's Tradition line of products, is also uncured and clean label. So we will work to kind of also just further add value into that program by working on those further processed products. Yeah, I guess I would open it up for questions.
Well, great. Thank you both. I checked our Facebook and Instagram. Doesn't look like we had any questions there, but I actually have one or two questions for you guys. So being that we're based in Maryland, the Maryland producers, how many, like what percentage of pigs do you think for your programs come from Maryland, actually, from Maryland farmers?
Maryland today is probably between 5 and 10%, somewhere in that range. I mean, we'd like to buy more from Maryland. I think there's a lot of good potential and opportunity there. Some of our traditional suppliers might have some finishing barns and the like in Maryland. We don't necessarily always identify them as Maryland since it's a Pennsylvania farmer. So that's why I gave the range of 5 to 10. So.
Sure. All right. And secondly, you mentioned the GAP, certification that a lot of farmers do. What goes into that as far as farmers? What do they have to provide as far as documentation to get that certification?
Right. The GAP program would have a list of requirements in terms of square footage provided to animals, the use of bedding. Those would be the biggest ones, and record keeping in terms of use of antibiotics. So there would be a third-party auditor that comes out to verify that records are kept, which we really like having the third party. And the certificate, stays on file with us, and we would have customers looking for verification that we are indeed having animals raised the way we say they are. And by having certificates on file or the American Humane certification, we can prove that and make the claims on the label. The GAP program being more focused to whole foods, those things are obviously very important to them. The no physical alterations. So we would have the auditor verify there's tails on the pigs and the like. And I believe that certification would typically be every 15 months, the auditor will come to the farm.
Yeah, I would just add to that at the plant level, for that certification to carry through, we are required to exhibit, a robust traceability system that can take product identification and trace it back to the individual farm level.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you both. I appreciate it. Just a reminder, these are the first Friday of every month at noon, and you can find out more on our website, www.marylandpork.org. That's about all. Thank you, guys.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Jen.